My dad graduated from Lewiston High School in Lewiston, Illinois. He got a scholarship at Bradley, and he was there 4 years and did cross country. He was too small to play basketball. When he graduated from Bradley, he went to Geyser, Montana, taught there a year, and had a good record, but he wanted to come back to Illinois. He came back to Illinois, and he and my mother got married, and then he went to Waterman, Illinois. It was a small town, and it had 100 students in the high school, and he took them to state, and while he was there with the team, Rodney Bell, a board member from Paris, saw Daddy's teams playing. He had a son on the team, and he wanted him to have a good coach. So he asked the announcer at Champaign and Huff Gym to ask Ernie Evelyn to meet him in the coach's room. So Daddy went down and met with him, and he said, would you be interested in the Paris job? And Daddy said, well, yeah. On Sunday, Daddy met with the board and got the job. And this was the fall of '35, and he started coaching here, and he won 2 state championships. He got second twice, and they got third 3 times. In '42, we got second, and we thought we had the game won. And at the last minute, Nate Middleton fouled out, and Daddy always said if Nate hadn't fouled out, we would have won it. And then they came back in '43. And this gym was built because of the success he and his boys were having at the time. We first started, and I can barely remember it, but we started over in what is the girls' gym or the cafeteria now. And they played in that until the fall of '43. So our '42 team played in that gym, and the '43 state championship played in that gym. And so the '47 championship was the first championship team to play here. And they put it on the ballot, and the town voted to build this gym, and they did it with WPA labor. And if I'm remembering this correctly, it cost $287,000. We lived in several homes in Paris, but I always had the gym. And I was 4 years older than my brother, and so there were times that Mother had to stay home with him, but Daddy brought me to the games, and I was just all over the place, seeing the fans, and it was home. This was a community event, our basketball games were, and we began our games on Thanksgiving afternoon, and we would have people standing out front to buy tickets, lined clear around the block, standing in line in the cold to buy tickets. It was standing room only. And finally, they told them that you can't stand in front of people, they can't see. Well, somebody said, well, who are you going to ask to leave? And so they said, well, they can just sit in the aisles and sit all across there. And that I saw that many, many times.
Well, the Edgar County Community Foundation began several years ago, and it was actually a brainchild of my dad. He was president of the Illinois cereal mill here locally. He thought, you make your money here, it ought to stay here. That prompted him to start our own family foundation for his own money, but then he also started a community foundation with a 501c3 status so that people in the community would have a vehicle in which they could make their own contributions to. It started with $30,000, and we not too long ago broached $1 million level, which was pretty good for a community our size. But it's grown exponentially, and then with the addition of the high school project, we determined to have a Name the Room campaign, which allowed people to donate and have a plaque placed on a room at the high school for capital development money. And we raised well over $500,000 locally just for that. Again, it's to make life better for us here, to allow people who've raised their family, made their money, or inherited their farmland or whatever, to be able to let that blessing flow through to the remaining people of Edgar County, either through funding a specific project, which is certainly what they can do, or set up a scholarship fund in the name of a loved one. When you're changing lives, it's a little bit like also preventing a car accident. You just don't really always know what kind of an impact you've had because you've avoided something. You might have a scholarship, for instance, that has allowed a student to go to college where he might not have been able to go. So you've just altered his course. You've changed his stars. And so you don't really know what total effect that has because you don't know what the effect would have been had he not gone. So we operate on faith in many ways, in that we know we're making a difference, but sometimes it's hard to know just how much. It's easy to, if you don't do anything, it's easy for a community to lose itself. And I truly believe we have changed the course of this ship in Paris. There's no question in my mind. And I saw it for the first time last year at the Christmas on the Square event. It was packed and people were happy. They were having a great time. It was the first time I saw pride back in a community. And this year was bigger than before, and it was the same thing. And when the tree blew over with the wind, everybody was really supportive. Let's get this thing back up. It wasn't just leave it for somebody else to do. Everybody pitched in. And it took a long time to see that pride come back, and keeping the movie theater going, saving the golf course, and then we built this new school. That's changed course, and people are proud again.
I feel like that this card that I received after Mandy passed really summed up Mandy's life, and I wanted to share that with everyone. The life of any person finds its true meaning in every opportunity to give, to inspire, and to make living more beautiful for another. On the inside it said, "Let us celebrate the life of one who truly knew how to inspire the best in each of us." Mandy meant so much to this community. And I really believe that that showed her life, and what she would want everyone to gain from her story was that we are here to help others and inspire as we can. My story begins actually in 2006. My baby sister, Amanda Pate Pheasant, actually known as Mandy by most people, was approached by a government agency here in Paris to help the Toys for Tots program, because it was nearly non-existent at that point. And they asked her, because she already had a ministry, that to maybe help the Marine to continue the work and kind of take off, some of the slack. And so Mandy began Christmas for Kids. By 2007, we had taken over the job of providing Christmas for the underprivileged kids of Edgar County. We live here in Paris. Mandy was born and raised in Paris, and very much a community girl. And the neat thing was, Mandy was at the age of 13 started her own ministry. She was a singer with very much mission-minded. She did missions with Hurricane Katrina. She went out to Indian reservations in Arizona. But Paris, being her hometown, was the most important to her. We started doing Christmas for underprivileged kids, and we kind of wanted to take the Toys for Tots program and go a little bit further. We wanted to provide kids a smile at Christmas, something that they wanted, but we also wanted to provide some of their needs. We wanted to provide clothing, maybe some educational needs. In 2006, we did approximately maybe around 60 children, and by 2007 it had grown to a little over 100. Kind of what makes this bittersweet is that 2010, Mandy was diagnosed with breast cancer. She was diagnosed in June of 2010, fought a battle that ended in April of 2011. It was a very short battle. During that time, she was as involved as she could with the Christmas for Kids program, and one of her last dying wishes was that we would continue the Christmas for Kids program. It was very important to her. Last year, we provided Christmas for almost 670 children, and that is countywide. If Mandy were here, and I know she is in spirit, and I have many times when we work with Christmas for Kids, I think, I wonder what Mandy thinks about this. I wonder what she thinks when she sees the wonderful things that's happening. I think she would say, well done, Paris. She loved her community. She knew that Paris had giving hearts, and she is just, I would be just beaming with the joy to see where this program has gone, because it has grown even considerably after she passed in 2011, and I'm just thrilled to know that her memory lives on, but also her wishes and her dream. And that's one thing that Mandy was really big about, was wanting a child to be able to fulfill a dream for a child. And she felt that if on Christmas a child could have a small dream achieved, that they would then feel they could look forward to bigger dreams.
Agriculture has always been important to East Central Illinois. Therefore, seed has always been important as well. So in 1918, the Edgar County Farm Bureau decided to establish a seed company that would serve area farmers, providing them with the seeds they would need around the farm. The first year, they put the seed company in the second story of the Citizens National Bank building, right on the south side of the square. They had to carry all the seed up the stairs. To get it out, they had to carry all the seed down the stairs. So the next year, when the Edgar County Farm Bureau moved to the Sims building on South Central Avenue, they took the seed company with them. No more carrying the seed up the stairs. They hired a man named Max Money to manage the company. Max did a very good job with the company, and they brought in cleaning equipment for the seeds they sold, so the farmers would be able to keep this sustainable. Now, those were going to be the biggest money producer for the seed company, but they introduced a brand new crop to Edgar County as well. Working with the University of Illinois, they brought the first soybeans into the county. It became too much of a financial hardship for the Farm Bureau. They decided to sell the company, and Max Money, the manager, bought it. And he moved it to a new location at 220 West Washington Street, here in town. That's still the main office facility today. Well, Theron Beeson would become the next owner in 1946. Theron continued to grow and build upon the success of Edgar County Seed and what Max Money had done. But Theron Beeson is also the one we credit today with coming up with the Great Heart brand. Now, back in those days, the slogan was "Seed from the Heart of the Great Central West." And the reason for that is this part of Illinois was considered to be the center or the heart of the United States. In 1959, Harold Adams joined Beeson as one of the owners. The two men worked together, and they continued to build that Great Heart brand. In 1966, they sold the company to J.M. Schultz. Now, J.M. Schultz was based in Dietrich, Illinois, and used this as a satellite location. They grew, processed, and sold soybeans and wheat, as well as a wide array of farm seeds. Now, meanwhile, a man named Chester Higginbotham was returning home from the Korean War. Chester grew up on a farm in Martinsville, Illinois, and he had several siblings. Some of those siblings wanted to farm as well. So, when he saw the chance to expand the farm near Paris, Illinois, Chester moved north. When he got there, he also started a seed company, and his brothers would join in with that as well. In 1983, they struck a deal with the J.M. Schultz Company to purchase the location here in Paris. We sat there for many weeks trying to deliberate on what we should call this new company. We just couldn't beat the old seed bags we saw hanging on the wall. So we revived the Great Heart brand. The modern Great Heart seed is preparing to celebrate its 25th anniversary in 2016. But really, there needs to be another small celebration in 2018 for all those people that have kept this company continually serving Paris farmers and beyond for 100 years.
The Killian family lived just across the Illinois-Indiana line in Indiana in a little small country house. My father was a coal miner, but he had a few hives of bees to offset his poor wages at the coal mine. And we moved to Paris in the 1920s. I always thought it was a big city from the country. I was going to the University of Illinois to be an entomologist after graduation, but I enlisted in the Air Force. When I returned, I decided to go in partners with my father. I had a few hives of bees in high school. My first hive of bees I started when I was 5 years old. We increased our colony numbers up to 1,000 hives of bees here in the Paris area. Our honey has won 39 trophies and blue ribbons at the American National Honey Show through the years. We were very proud of that. My father, he was the chief inspector in the Illinois Department of Agriculture pertaining to checking bee colonies for health, keep healthy bees. He worked for 32 years at that, and he retired in 1970. And the beekeepers of Illinois asked me to carry on his work. So I sold most of my colonies of bees down, and I was the chief inspector for 18 and a half years. Then after that, I was extensive specialist in apiculture on the staff at the University of Illinois for 18 years. I have 2 hives of bees now, but still enjoy piddling with the bees. And I did a lot of research and things like that with honeybees. My father had a one-man campaign. He always wanted the U.S. Postal Service to issue a stamp or something to recognize the honeybee. And he worked for 25 years on that. He would write every year to the Postmaster General and ask them why don't they honor the honeybee. He had always received a letter back from the Postmaster General saying it's on the agenda, but the Citizen Staff Advisory Committee would overrule it and never have it. So when his health began to fail, he asked me if I would continue his work. So I did that as a chairman of the American Beekeeping Federation. In 1979, 2 days before my father passed away, I had a call from the U.S. Postal Service saying they were going to issue a commemorative envelope showing the honeybee. Every beekeepers organization in every state in the Union wanted the first day issue there in their hometown or city. And I persuaded the U.S. Postal Service what better place than Paris. So on October the 10th, 1980, we had the celebration of the first day issue. I was able to tell my father that 2 days before he passed away, so he realized his dream had come true. I only thought this would be a one-day weekend, and it turned out to be the 36th year coming up this year for the Honeybee Festival. I've worked with honeybees all my life. I've been all around the world working with the honeybees, but I still feel that Paris, Illinois is the bee-friendly town, is the best place to live and raise a family.
The story of St. Aloysius Church started with the signing of the peace treaty with the Indians. And Father Baden of Kentucky was talking with Aloysius Brown and convinced him to come north into Illinois, the new territory, and start a settlement. So Aloysius Brown and Barnaby Reynolds decided they and their families would come north into Illinois, and some other families joined them. And they ended up in this area that is called North Arm. And there's some debate about why it is called North Arm. Some people say it was because of the north arm of Coal Creek, or the north arm of the woods, or the north arm of the prairie. Take your pick. And so they built their log cabins, and Aloysius Brown was their leader, and he had been appointed as a precept and a leader by Father Baden before they headed north. And so he was allowed to teach religion, do baptisms, marriages, and burials. They had services in the Brown cabin until they outgrew it, and then they built a log structure. And again, we don't have a date for that. but they had services in the log structure, and of course their congregation grew and they outgrew the log structure. So in 1830, they started building the new church. It wasn't finished until 1837. And they had the main altar, which is beautiful, and 2 side altars. And we now have those altars in our church, and I believe they are now 179 years old. In 1991, we had a celebration of the dedication of our historical marker. And on the top of the historical marker, it states that we're the oldest continuing parish in the Diocese of Springfield. And as of this date, 2016, we are 199 years old. On our property, we also have a cemetery. It's distinct which part was the old part and which part is the new part. In fact, in the old cemetery, there are several tombstones of the early people that immigrated from various counties in Ireland. Some of those first families that came with Aloysius Brown, some of their descendants are still in the community. The Blanford family, Sanders, Blackman, McCarty, Stratton, and Bodine are still in this area. Also on our church property, to the west of the church, there's a waterfall. It's the only waterfall in Edgar County. And the only time it actually has water falling is after we've had a heavy rain, because it's the water from the runoff of the fields. But there are fossils there, and it's an interesting place to go explore. We have Mass on Sunday morning at 7, and generally we have from 60 to 80 people in our church. Of course, in the winter at 7 o'clock in the morning, it's dark, so we don't have quite so many in the dead of winter. It is a beautiful church in a very simple country way, and everyone that comes through that door says, "Oh my, this is lovely."
I want to talk about Bob Morgan, who was born in southern Indiana, and then he went to Kankakee, where he graduated from high school. At age 16, he was still a high school student at that time, in Kankakee, he had an opportunity to buy a laundromat. And the laundromat was in disarray, and so he acquired it for a little bit of nothing because of the condition. And he acquired new washers and dryers and refinished the building. And he did extremely well on that. And he sold it for $80,000. And he thought he was the richest man in the world when he got that. He is an idea person, and he has more ideas in an hour than most people have in a week. But anyway, one of the things that he accomplished was Kraft Company in Champaign. They had waste product that was cheese, and Bob thought maybe the cheese would be a good item for hogs. And Bob had some hogs he was raising, and he thought, well, I'll go and talk to him about that cheese. So it ended up they was paying to have the cheese hauled away, and Bob told him he would haul away for free. So he got it, and he raised a bunch of hogs, and he did extremely well. When Bob was just a young boy, about 2 years old, I think, his dad was killed in the Battle of the Bulge. And so Bob never knew his father. When he bought the bank, it was an older building, and he promised the community that he would build a new bank for Paris, and he built the bank. And the bank was opened on February the 20th of 2000, and he dedicated that to his father, who was killed in the Battle of the Bulge. And there is a plaque at the bottom of the flagpole to commemorate that. Through the bank, he has a foundation, and in that foundation, he contributes money to it every year to give to students, graduating students, for scholarships. And he's been doing that since he bought the bank. Bob is a very interesting person. He's a wonderful person, somebody that you can embrace very quickly because he's just got that outstanding personality. And Paris should be, and I'm sure they are, extremely proud of what he has done for the community.
The history of the bands in Paris, Illinois and Edgar County have been rather successful and eventful throughout the years. I can tell you that many years ago the band program basically started in 1938 with a gentleman by the name of Lou Waterloo. Mr. Waterloo, it has been said, was also associated with the John Philip Sousa band. Mr. Waterloo came on in 1938, and I think went for about 10 years to 1958, when Cal Stockman came on board for approximately 3 years. And Mr. Waterloo was outstanding. Mr. Stockman was absolutely fabulous, followed by Roger Malling. And Mr. Malling was a great mentor to me. And he was here from, I think, basically 7 years, from 63 on until 1968, when I arrived as a freshman teacher right out of Eastern Illinois University. And so from that time, we spent from 1968 to basically 1999 in the program. As we were growing, we started basically, I started in 68, I think approximately about 75, 80 students. We grew to a high point of about 285 in the late 70s, early 80s, going into the 90s, and just had so many wonderful experiences. Chicago Bear games, we did 2 of those. We played for the St. Louis Football Cardinals. Countless parades in the area and competitions out there. We played for the Aloha Bowl, which was good when we played for the Peach Bowl, the Orange Bowl, Sugar Bowl. A couple others, presidential inaugural parades. I played for Mr. Reagan while he was in the area. Played for Mr. Bush. Played in the 1972 inaugural parade, which was so much fun because all these experiences were, not only were we playing for those, but we were experiencing the culture outside of our community. And the really neatest thing of all that came from all of this was the fact that we as a community, we as a musical family, we as a county came together and said, oh my, what has he done now? And we joined together, and as the pride and joy grew, our community took pride in our organizations. My pride and my success was not because of me. It was because of the community, it was because of parents, it was because of kids, and we do still refer to all those kids as our children. And I think there were approximately about 4,972 kids that went through the program. We've tried, Mrs. Sperry has tried to keep track. And out of that, we had 97 sets of kids who were married, that were husband and wife, that were in band together. And one of the things that was really neat was the fact I had kids in Eastern's band. I had 14 in the Marching Illini at one time. We were taking 18 to maybe 20 kids to IMEA every year. And we've had kids play abroad. And it's just been wonderful. And one of the neat things was we had the FFA band. That was kids that were made up, that were in agriculture, but also musicians. So it was fun, but it was also musically formed up in a professional way. The high school band, we were considered the musical ambassadors for our community. For me, it was family. I mean, those kids, they are still our kids. We hollered a lot, we screamed a lot, we worked hard, and we learned work ethic, and I think that is very, very important. And we also cried a lot. We've lost kids, and I don't give them up very easy. Okay, and so those kids were always, the thing about it is they were here then, they are here now, and when they're gone, they will still be with us. And those kids were the joy of my life. They brought things to my wife and I that we didn't even anticipate or expect. And I'm so proud of them because they have went on to do better socially, professionally. And we accept, and our group was kind of unusual. We accepted everyone. You didn't have to be had to be made like a cookie cutter. We had those who were out in the left field, those who were out in the right field, those who had different color hair, different thoughts and aspirations, and they were still our kids. They are still part of us. They are. I hope that someday I will be a memory that will be good for them, because their memories of them have been wonderful for us.
And here we are back live in the WEIU TV studio. We're having a rockin' good time tonight because you're making it that way. Go ahead and
We had wanted to have 40 callers for the first break. We had 43.
Yay!
So thank you so much.
That's perfect.
Right now, if you want to go ahead and get on the phone, we have 8 people back here just waiting for you to call. The number's on the bottom of your screen. If you've enjoyed the program so far, give us a call.
And we want to hit 90 as soon as we can. We know you can do it. We need just about as many calls this break as we had last break. So pick up those phones. Who's going to give us a call right now? Someone needs to kick this off. The phones are quiet. Who's going to be the first person to pick up their phone? Call the number at the bottom of your screen right now. For $75, you get 1 copy of the DVD. For $120, you get 2.
I want to give a couple thank yous. Ruth Ann from Urbana said she grew up in Kansas, and she called, and she doesn't want a DVD, but she just wants to give to the program, which is amazing. Robin called all the way from Brazil, not Indiana, South America. So
that was Arlene's sister back here. She's one of our storytellers.
Denise from Paris, thank you so much. Laura from Paris, Kathy from Paris, Sue from Paris, Donna from Paris. 2 Donnas from Paris, actually.
I've got some thank yous as well. I have Mark, Roxanne, Susan, Kevin, Tony. Oh, those are from Paris. Tony is from Charleston, and Brad is from Chrisman. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. That's what makes this night worth it. You enjoy the program that we're providing for you, and you're showing us that you support it by calling, and we'll be happy to give you a DVD of the program at the $75 level. If you need more than one, which everybody needs more than one, it's $120 or $60 for each one.
That's right. And so give us a call right now. The phones are busy, and we want to thank that person who got us going on. And I'll tell you what, I've got someone special here in the studio with me tonight, and this is Mary. Mary's one of our storytellers, and she was in the first segment. And Mary, I want to know why you wanted to tell the Stuart Hogring story.
It's the story of my family, and I'm the last of the Mohicans of that branch. I do have 1 second cousin living in Paris, but that's it. So we need to keep the story going, and I think the story of a hog ring is interesting. Now, when I was in grade school and high school, if anybody asked what my father did, I would sort of, because nobody knew what a hog ring was, and I was a bit embarrassed by it.
But not anymore.
Not anymore. Now I'm very proud of it.
Oh, that's great, and we're so glad that you told us that story tonight, and you have shared that with so many people this evening. Stuart Hogring Company was in the first one. It's a family tradition. There's a lot of people here that we call family tonight, and they have become our friends. They're neighbors to us just a short distance down the road, and they know a lot of people, and if you know them, you give them a call right now. All you have to do is pick up the phone. The number's at the bottom of your screen. Jana, back to you.
Thank you, Kian. We are so excited with how many people are on the phones right now. Nels is still waiting on a call, and Mary is needing a call right now. So if you're one of those people that have been watching the program and you're sitting there on the couch thinking, wow, I cannot believe that WEIU did a program on Paris. But we also want to let you know we could have not have done this program without 44 people from Paris saying, Paris is important to me and I want to share my story. Nels Casey is here tonight. He talked about the Great Heart Seed Company and the history of that. It's been in Paris for over 100 years. What a great, great story. We've heard from the Edgar County Foundation. Doug Hassler talked about that. Ernie Evelyn Jim, his daughter Linda talked about that. And let's not forget Killian's Honey as well, and the Christmas for Kids, Mandy's Dream. What a great program, and definitely got to our heart, definitely for that one. If you're on the looking right now and you want to give, let's hear from you. The number's on the bottom of your screen. We'd love to have a $75 caller right now or a $120. Let's send it on over to Kian.
Well, the phones are busy over here on this side, and you can see Warren back there on the phone. He finished up that segment with the Paris High School Marching Bands. If you know Warren, if he was your instructor through band, give us a call tonight. Let him know that you appreciate him showcasing the marching bands, sharing it with the world tonight, because that's what we're doing. We're streaming online at WEIU.net. Make sure you're on social media, hashtag PTIOS, and spread the word that we're on through the evening. We've got lots more to share with you this evening, but right now what we want you to do is keep these phones busy. We have just a couple of lines open right now. All you have to do is call that number at the bottom of your screen. If you feel comfortable, you can go online as well at weiu.net. But I'll tell you what, one of the favorite stories that a lot of people have shared is that Ernie Evelyn Gym. If you graduated from that high school and you have several memories of that, give us a call right now and let us know that that's a special story for you. Jana, back to you.
Thank you, Kian. I'd like to get some more callers. Nels is sitting back here waiting on a call. So is Warren. We just heard his story about the gym, and Mary would love to talk to you as well. If you're out there and you were in the Paris High School gym at some point in your life and you played for Paris, we want you to call tonight. I know that we have people from out of state that are watching online, so where are you at tonight? Call us and let us know. The number's on the bottom of your screen. We could do a $75 gift, and we'd be happy to send you a DVD. If you'd like 2 or more, they're $60 each. Let's get this phone on the phones going, and Kian, come on in.
All right, we're going to give some shout outs here in just a moment, but some of the stories coming up in just a few minutes. You know what? There's a special movie star from Paris, Illinois, and the storyteller is in the house tonight, and he's sitting over in the living room section of our studio. His name's David Dick, and I'm not going to give it away, so you're going to have to stay tuned to hear that story right there. We also have Pyramid Pharmacy, who is a partner of a storyteller back here. Tom Habermill is on the phone, and Steve Benefil was a storyteller. Arlene Brown with Mayfate. So many storytellers here tonight. You can tell them thank you. They're having so much fun back there. There's David Dick right there. He's the one that did the story about the movie star you'll hear coming up. So to get a copy of all of these great stories, all you have to do is call right now. These storytellers are standing by, our friends, our family, our neighbors down the road. They want to talk to you.
A few minutes ago, Tony called. Tony's from Charleston. I've known him for a long time. I had no idea that he grew up in Paris. And he's like, I want a DVD of that program. So he's sitting over, watching kids, having fun with his friends, and he wants to give back to the station that produced a wonderful program on Paris.
I'll tell you what, this is a funny little story. I had a text come in from my mom just a few minutes ago, and it said, that's where my birth certificate is. And I called her up and said, Mom, what are you talking about? She said, the Edgar County Courthouse story. That's where my birth certificate is. I was born in Paris. So my mom was born in Paris, and I just found that out tonight.
You learned
Probably
something.
should have known that, but I'll tell you what, this story's bringing out some good stories.
There are, and so many people receiving calls tonight, and you got a couple more thank yous to make?
I have Marion from Paris, another Marion from Paris, Greg, Charisse, I hope I said that right, Steve, Ellen, and Patricia from Chrisman. So these are from Paris, this is from Chrisman. Thank you so very much.
Right now, I don't know what number we're at, but we're trying to get up to 90. So let's keep on getting those phones ringing. I got some more right now. We're at 90 right now.
We're at 90 right now.
We're at 90 right now.
Yeah,
Here
baby.
goes.
Way to go. I'll tell you what, Paris is rocking the house tonight. We're going to have to get those streamers going, people. Tap those streamers back there.
Pat from Paris was the number 89. Jim from Paris is number 90. So let's give him a round of applause. Woo-hoo. I want you all to know that this is huge. We laugh when we say huge around here. This is so big. We have never had this many callers in the second break. So thank you, Paris.
That's perfect. I'll tell you what, your financial support matters so much. Your membership matters. And I'll tell you what, it matters not only to us here at Eastern Illinois University and WEIU, it matters to Paris because you're saying thank you for this.
This program was such an honor for WEIU staff to produce, but we could not have done it if 44 people hadn't said, I want to share stories about Paris. I want to talk about growing up in Paris, about the Ernie Evelyn Gym, about the high school. If they hadn't done them, we wouldn't be able to produce it, and nobody else would have produced a program like this size. That's what we do here at WEIU, but we could not have done it without our storytellers.
And a couple more people to thank is Bruce and Carolyn from Paris.
Okay. Let's get the 100 now. Let's get to 100 right now. We got 8 people left, so come on, get on the phone right now. A $75, we will send you a DVD. $60 times 2, that's $120. Maybe you're one of those people that want one and want to give one for a gift. We would love to take your calls right now.
So how many of you know about Paris Community Hospital? Because that story is coming up. If you have friends that work there, if you have doctors that have taken so good of care of you. Dr. Leland Phipps is coming up with a story about that. We have Jody Sperry in the house tonight, who's going to tell you a story about PERC. It's a mentoring program, because that's another thing we talked about earlier. Paris takes care of Paris, and they're taking care of WEIU tonight too.
And they do. And what we found doing all these programs and all the stories is Paris loves the people that live there, and if they see a need, they are on it immediately. That's why they're calling tonight. This is an important program. They want to support it, and that's what Paris people do.
And all you have to do is tell them thank you by calling them right now. The number's at the bottom of your screen. $75 for one copy of the program, $120 for 2 copies. And think about your children who may have grown up in Paris, and they're grown up and living somewhere else right now, and you can send a copy of that program to them.
And if you're watching right now and you have somebody living in another state, get them on WEIU.net. We are streaming live so they can enjoy all of this.
And make sure that you're staying in tune with social media as well. Hashtag PTIOS, hashtag Paris This Is Our Story. And you can share that and tell them to tune in online, WEIU.net, and also tag anybody you know in all of these stories. If you're friends with them, let people know they're on tonight.
That's right. We've got 2 phones that are free, Nels and Mary. Let's get on the phone right now. Let's make them ring. Nels needs to be busy. He's been sitting there for about an hour, and nobody's calling him. So call Nels.
He's talked to some people, and we want to thank you for that.
We're just kidding. And Mary, you're just wanting somebody to call so much, aren't you? So give Mary a call.
I'll tell you what, right behind the phone bank here on the wall, we've got some wonderful pieces of artwork. Over here behind Tom and Renee and Kim and Nels, we have the Illinois Cereal Mill, which is in Paris, Illinois, and it's been there for several years. Good story about that. Over on the other side, we also have the downtown area of Paris from many years ago. Those were given to us tonight from the Historical Society in Edgar County, so thank you so much for that.
And both of those prints are amazing. We got people over in our patio area over there. Give us a wave, everybody over there. They are enjoying the program from that way. We have people in our control room that are having fun. We have people in our Paris patio, and the people on the phones are really having fun. And you know why? Because they're excited that people are calling and supporting this program.
And we're excited as well. I also want to give a few more thank yous. Some of the artwork that's up in that area over there that Jane is calling the patio came from the Chamber of Commerce in Paris. We also have Kathy Drake Photography, who's given us some things, and Tom Hebermill, who's sitting right behind us, also is a photographer over there and gave us some artwork tonight. Memorabilia is also from some of our storytellers, so great set, and we want to thank them as well.
We are so excited that people are on the phone. Hey, Nels is on the phone now.
Yeah.
They're all busy.
Woo!
If you get a busy
signal,
signal,
all the phones are busy.
If you get a busy signal, just keep on calling. We'd love to be able to talk to you. We are excited. If you have somebody you want to talk to, just let the phone operator know, I want to talk to Mary or I want to talk to Agnes. We will switcheroo.
Your support is so important, and it is blowing the roof off the studio tonight, because I'll tell you what, there is excitement in here. We're rolling with happiness. We're thrilled to death, and these storytellers couldn't be more thrilled that you're calling in right now with your pledge of support and saying thank you so much for showcasing Paris.
April from Metcalf called. Her mom was the May Fate Queen. That's amazing. Don, thank you so much for calling from Paris. And Bob's calling all the way from Chrisman.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Bob.
And we've been mentioning Chrisman. Chrisman is a neighbor of Paris, and we've got some people in the house from Chrisman tonight. We want to thank everyone calling from all over the United States, because we had a call from Texas earlier, South America. If you're watching online, because I know I've got a couple of friends out of state watching, be sure to give us a call as well. Or you can go online at WEIU.net and pledge your gift of support too.
Vicki from Paris just called, and she said the program is amazing. If you're like her, she called and said, you know what, I want to support the programming on WEIU that is all about Paris. So thank you so much, Vicki. If you're one of those people that are sitting there right now, you've been watching all night, but you haven't picked up that phone, now's the time.
I'll tell you what, if you're learning from this program tonight because it's all about local history, we have a gentleman in the house tonight. He's one of our storytellers' husbands. Mary Liz's husband is sitting over there, and he attended the premiere with his daughter last weekend just for the storytellers, and he said, I've lived in Paris all my life, and I learned so much about my town. And he was thankful for that. So if you're doing the same thing tonight, if you're sitting at home learning so much about Paris that you didn't know and you grew up there, make sure you call in and say thank you and have a piece of that history.
Well, we love it when you call and we can give a shout out to you. So that's what's fun too. We have heard from so many people from Paris, but we've heard from people from other communities as well that probably called Paris home at one point in time.
I'll tell you what, we've done different programs on different towns. There's Mary Liz and her husband right there. So thank you so much for being here tonight. We've done programs on different towns. We're going to continue doing programs on more towns as long as it's successful, just like tonight is. So if you want us to showcase your town, we want you to show us the support tonight so we can continue doing this tradition.
We've got a couple phone lines unbusy. We've got Warren. Call Warren. They're switching. They're confusing us now. But either way, the phone number's on the bottom of your screen. We would love to hear from you. We are excited about Paris. This is our story. What you got?
I have some more thank yous right now. I have Kathy, Sharon, Frank, and Jim, all from Paris tonight. Thank you so much for calling in.
We are so thrilled that you are going to the phone and calling. Paris is a special, special place.
It very much is, and we're having a super time tonight. As you can see back there on the monitor, every time the phone goes back, or the camera goes back there, it says, Paris, this is our story, and they have 44 stories to share with you tonight. And we mentioned at the very top of the program, their zip code is 61944, which matches at the very end of the zip code with the number of storytellers.
That's kind of cool, isn't it?
It is very cool.
To be able to have 44 storytellers, that's the most storytellers we've ever had in our story series. And tonight, they're already breaking records of how many people that are calling. So let's keep it up.
I'm so proud of Paris, and I'm so proud to have so many friends over there that are here in the studio with us tonight. We have several more stories to share with you, and we will get back to the program momentarily. But right now, we're having so much fun that you are calling in and sharing that gift of support with WEIU.
We are thrilled that you're calling. At $75, we'd be happy to send you a DVD. If you'd like two, it's $120. Beyond that, it's still $60 each. We've had a lot of people calling at the $120 level and said, I want one for myself. I'm going to give one to my mom and dad because they grew up in Paris and it's their home.
Absolutely. And we're pretty timely on getting those DVDs to you, so if you're looking to give them as a birthday gift, Mother's Day, graduation, they will be available, so make sure that you think about that, because if you have someone that's kind of hard to buy for and you know that they appreciate local history, right now is the place to get that gift for them.
We have a couple phone operators. Warren's still waiting. Warren is waiting for someone to call him. If you love Paris, if you are a band member in the past, Warren needs to hear from you right now. So who's going to be the next person that calls Warren? Come on. Oh, trumpet player? Trombone. Tubas, we don't care what you play. Flute, clarinet, I don't care. How about drums?
It all works, because tonight is all about making music and showcasing Paris. Right there, Paris Tigers. If you went to Paris High School, if you grew up in Paris, went to any of the schools, and we have a story coming up about that later, give us a call right now.
There was a story earlier about the Twin Lakes, and he had talked about driving down there with your honey and parking and watching the waves of the lake. Wasn't that cool?
There's lots of memories being shared tonight through Paris.
Yeah.
Lots of memories that you're going to be having after you watch tonight's program. And we want to make sure that you are letting us know what those memories are by calling in. I've got some more thank yous here. Michelle Buchanan? Buchanan. Sorry. Grew up in Paris but lives in Newman. She has been calling other Tigers. So Tigers, give us a call.
Thank you for doing that.
We also have Jim from Paris, and I'm not sure what this one, pardon me?
Mention when it's going to be reran. Well, we want you to watch it tonight. It's going to be repeated tonight after we end, and it'll also be airing this weekend. We'll double check and get back to you on the times.
Absolutely. But right now, we're going to make sure. Oh, Warren's got a call. He
is busy answering the phone. I'm sure it's somebody that knows him.
Well, I'm sure about that because Warren knows a lot of people.
He
and
does.
I'll tell you what, he's brought a lot of people to us through this program, and we're thrilled about that.
I think we're getting close to our 100 mark. If we could get 100 people in this break, we're almost done with this break. Come on, let's get every phone going. We would definitely break a record.
We've got a note coming in here from Rob. Rob, come on in here.
Okay, we are re-airing this program Saturday at 3:30 p.m. and Sunday at 7 p.m. But we want you to call tonight.
Absolutely, and every time this airs, we're also going to stream it online at WEIU.net. So if you do have friends and family that live elsewhere outside of the broadcast viewing area, be sure to tell them they can tune in online as well.
thank you so much for calling. Keep on calling. We love it when we get the excitement going in here. Are we ready to go back to the program?
Well, I think we're going to let these
Can I keep
people
on
finish
going?
their phone
Okay.
calls right now.
Okay,
Because
here
there's
we
lots
go.
of people who are wanting copies of this. We know you want to get back to the show, and we will do that momentarily. But right now, we've got Nels and Kim back here on the phone. We've got Tom over here waiting, and we've got Mary over here waiting as well. And I'll tell you what, this is what really matters tonight, is showing your pledge of support.
We've got Pat from Indianapolis. Thank you. Kristen from Paris, Pat and Susan from Paris, Nancy from Oakland. Thank you, Nancy. Janet from Paris, Sally from Paris, and Bob from Paris. Thank you so much. Every call matters.
It does, and all you have to do is call right now. $75 gets you 1 copy of the program. $120 gets you 2 copies, so you can keep 1 for yourself, give 1 away, or think about those people that you want to give gifts for. We've mentioned this all night long. Lots of holidays coming up. If your mom grew up in Paris, that'd be a great gift to give for Mother's Day.
If you ever laid foot in Ernie Evelyn Gym, you know how special that gym is. That's where we went and we interviewed all of our storytellers. And I'll tell you what, if somebody that has never been in there, there's a feeling about that gym, and it is nostalgic. You can just feel the pride that's in Paris there. And that was such a cool thing for us to do, to experience Ernie Evelyn Gym.
And I'll tell you what, I think Ernie speaks to you when you're in that gym, because we were having a little bit of a rough time one day, and I took a walk around the gym. I walked to the center of it. I was standing in the Tiger, and I looked up, and there was Ernie, and it said something up there on the flag about showing pride and getting through. And I'll tell you what, I'm telling you, there's something spiritual about that gym over there.
And people in Paris do have pride, and that's the great thing about a program like this. Perfect timing for people to get on board, support Paris, support local. Paris is a great community.
And we have some more thank yous. We have Greg and Sherry from Paris, Lori from Paris, and David says we need more trumpets to call. The trumpet section is being called out to call tonight.
Call Warren right now. If you're one of the Paris band members, what a great story. And gosh, everybody knows Warren. So let's see who else we got here.
But you know what? There's a lot of people that know Mary because she's been
Renee.
around and her family's been around for a long time. Nels knows a lot of people. He had a great story about Great Heartseed. They're switching chairs back here like musical chairs because people are calling to talk to their friends tonight.
And that's absolutely fun. Anything goes here. So if you want to call and talk to somebody specific, absolutely do that. Somebody's calling now. Hopefully somebody's answering the phone. It's crazy back there.
I'll tell you what, we've got some great stories coming up. Eli Lilly is one of them. Pyramid Pharmacy is one of them. Don't miss out on the hospital, Mayfay, Edgar County Scripture Festival, which is really cool, and Perk and the movie star that is pretty famous, and David Dick is excited about sharing that. So stay tuned for more. We're going to be here in the studio. Keep calling us, whether we're on or whether we're on break. We're going to be here to take your call. Stay tuned for more Paris. This is our story right now.
Yay!